appreciate Donald, I have to say. You know, he's fought a lot of times, and he's also a family man, and with his grandmother and these things. I appreciate that, and I respect that. I just don't think he looks well at 155, right? He does not look well at 150. He's a 170 fighter.
Don't you want him to suffer on the way to the...
Why would I want someone to... I don't care. No. You know what I mean? I'd beat him if I had the flu.
Hello. For a lot of people commenting, this was a very different side to Conor McGregor. His entire vibe was pleasant and overall respectful. Conor clearly read Donald Cerrone's post stating he better not talk about my son or grandma, and surprisingly, instead of taking a jab in that regard, he complimented Donald on being a family man, said he respected him.
I appreciate Donald, I have to say. You know, he's fought a lot of times, and he's also a family man, and with his grandmother and these things. I appreciate that, and I respect that.
What happened to the Notorious? This isn't the level of pleasantness we are all used to. I know what you're thinking. Khabib Nurmagomedov must have humbled him. But honestly, if you look throughout Conor McGregor's career, he states the trash talk he was doing was always just an act, so that he and his opponent could make more money.
I'm not doing this for fake acting and pretending I can, you know what I mean? Trying to give emotion to some guy that wants emotion from me for a shot. I don't do this for that. But I understand that it's a double-edged sword and you must do that. I respect everyone, you know. Honestly, it took me back a little bit when Dustin was like, I hate this guy. I was laughing my head off. I was like, what? How could you hate a guy? We're on the same thing. We're all making money here. You know what I mean? We're all making money here doing this, chasing this dream. So that baffled me, but I hate no one, but at the end of the day, business is business. It's never personal. It can be cruel, it can be ruthless, but it is never personal. Always humble in victory or defeat.
Every time where it did not benefit him to stir a buzz, he's actually been surprisingly well-natured. He studied greats not just in their fighting techniques, but in their trash talk. He took it as truth talk, not just as an expression of where he was from, but as a way of manifesting his reality through the law of attraction.
It can be achieved, and it can be achieved like that. You know what I mean? If you put the head down, if you work and you believe in yourself, and you speak with confidence, and whatever you want to do, you speak it loud with no fear, and no matter what people say, it happens. So that's something that I can take with me, and that being able to do that actually inspires and motivates me right back.
Overall, one of the most polarizing facets about Conor McGregor's character is that he gives glimpses of his true nature, a simple Irishman who just wants to provide for his family, and of course himself by as much as possible. He became the act he was putting on. The Notorious brand had him become evil. That part of his life truly was a tragedy for many of us fans, With the character he had played, when left unchained in civilized society, it had a tendency of causing problems not just on the outer world, but his soul all the same. After all the backlash, after going through his own shame, it seems as though he's allowed himself with a new sense of meaning. I feel the part of him that he's been neglecting putting on a show is finally coming out, especially due to the example he wants to set for his children. Even in his training, he just seems happy. He looks like he feels good, light, like he's truly having fun with the whole experience. It's good energy all around. With that said, let's actually take a closer glance at his training. A glint into how we might prepare for Donald Cerrone. It's as if the motions that take tens of thousands of hours to master in that one moment look effortless. Even in the way he circles the cage, it's comparable to the grace you'd see in a ballet performance. At this point, it's like an elegant capacity to move. In his boxing, we see that nimble footwork again, but there's another element to Conor McGregor's game being displayed. For some reason, Conor McGregor has moved away from his bladed stance into a more orthodox. He has his hands up, his feet are positioned more square. I'm assuming this is because he wants to be able to better manage Donald Cerrone's low kicks. Stephen Thompson is a master at dealing with low kicks from a bladed stance, but Conor McGregor was kicked off footing by Eddie Alvarez. Taking that wisdom and knowing low kicks are a pillar to Donald Cerrone's game, by turning his stance to a more orthodox one, perhaps he wants to be able to better check, to quicker check, or at least absorb damage dealt without losing footing. Also note the emphasis he has on his right hand. A bladed stance needs to pivot out to a square stance to generate threat for the lead. We've seen Conor McGregor compensate in his karate stance by using Prince Naseem Hamed's corkscrew uppercut, a pivot and slip out which in turn lets him explode into into his lead hand. By having a more orthodox square stance, you've been given more pivot back to the lead, which in turn naturally gives it more power without relying on that pivot out. People throughout his career have said Conor was just a left hand. Perhaps this here is an attempt to show everyone exactly what he's been saying all along. He has power in both hands. Here, as usual, Conor McGregor's technique is beautiful. Pivoting in and taking the outside foot, he executes a power jab, then watch how he steps in with both feet and sinks his weight into the blow by lowering his level, not fully extending on the left, but penetrating deep body weight into it via technique. You hit a man anywhere with this, even if you are not pure fast twitch. The body mechanics alone, the mastery is shown in his ability to execute the technique will force pure respect. Conor, as usual, does implement a lot of head movement, which versus Donald Cerrone has historically not worked out so well. Why? As a high-level kickboxer, one of the things he wants to do is move your head into a shin. That's why kickboxers typically have an upright posture. If he catches on to habitual head movement, you've basically made his job easier. He'll just feint his hands and have you fall into the kick. Historically, high-pressure fighters with strong timing, especially when paired with good footwork, have been a strong matchup versus Donald Cerrone. With that said, I believe it's a matter of who gets the better of the reads, with Conor being as studious as he is and Donald Cerrone doing next to no research before a fight. Definitely, the fight IQ aspect of the game should favor Conor McGregor. Cerrone will be punching down against Conor, but interestingly enough, there is not a reach advantage for him. With that said, this height but not reach difference actually works in favor for Conor McGregor, as his line of attack will provide a better angle for the chin. But of course, the kicking and kneeing advantage, and perhaps the most terrifying aspect of Cerrone's game, will be given to him. Those dangerous kicks did work against him versus Darren Till and Jorge Masvidal due to their pressure, footwork and timing, but to compensate versus Ally Quinta, his remarkable jab and teeps were a good adjustment to the linear entry. Versus Justin Gaethje, the difference in low kicks forced an exchange in the pocket wearing close. The kicks did not have their ideal range. An exchange of hands versus the significantly more powerful Gaethje took from him the bout. With that said, seeing Conor come back from such a long hiatus, it will definitely be an interesting fight. I'd like to see how the Irishman has improved, considering everyone is saying he's much better than he's ever been. Crazy the buzz Conor McGregor creates on social media without even trying. A few minutes of him being pleasant and the whole world tunes in to watch. Definitely, I look forward to seeing that magic in the arena. What do you guys think? I'd love to hear your thoughts and perspective on the matter. Any and every expression from your mind is always appreciated. Until next time, peace.